Welcome to Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. IvyConnect, our new college-wide Constituent Relationship Management, or CRM tool, as we will now refer to it, because I'll never make it all the way through all three words of those again, continues to successfully make progress toward implementation. The vision statement for IvyConnect is transform the student journey by creating a platform to enable informed decision-making and align business processes to improve student success, lifetime constituent engagement, and facilitate IvyTech's strategic mission and vision. The guiding principles for IvyConnect are innovative, intuitive, efficient, collaborative, trusted. Release 0 commenced in February and completed in mid-April. Release 1 will be released in September. We've got two experts about IvyConnect here to talk on how things are going with Release 0, what's coming in Release 1, and to look ahead beyond Release 1. And let's meet them. First up is Andy Bowne.
Hey, Kara.
Hey, Andy.
We're going to talk about technology, and I can't unmute myself.
Those mute buttons, they just keep moving on us, don't they?
They are pesky little things. Anyways, I'm Andy Bowne, and I've had the privilege for the last few years to serve as the college's Chief Operating Officer. And with the CRM, or IvyConnect, I serve as the executive sponsor.
Excellent. Welcome, Andy. And Matt Etchison. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Carrie. Matt Etchison, Chief Information Officer, and I've been in that role since late 2018, and I am the technical sponsor of the CRM project, and I'm very excited to be a part of it.
Welcome to both of you. We're going to dive right into our conversation. So there was an email update that was sent out. As this episode airs, it'll probably be a couple of weeks ago now, about IvyConnect, which included the new name and logo. And we first saw that back in May as well. Tell us a little bit more about why that name and the process for developing the name and the new logo, because as someone who names things at IvyTech, I know it's not as simple as just picking a word and sticking Ivy in front of it. There's always meaning behind it. So let's get a little bit of the rest of the story here.
Super. Yeah. Kara, it really stemmed from initial conversations with our partner, Aperio, and their guidance to us that, there's this CRM thing, but you need to make it your own. You need to make it IvyTech. And it wasn't as simple as just slapping Ivy in front of, IvyCRM. And so it was a partnership between Aperio and IvyTech, specifically through our marketing communications team. They pulled together a series of focus groups to listen and talk to folks about what they were thinking about it, what they were hoping it would do for us, and so forth. And a number of names got kicked around for a while. Then it came down to 2. And then IvyConnect came out on top. And so, and then it has a tagline that goes with it: one community, one system. And, Kara, just a little side note, I'm a stickler about that when we use the word system. Are we talking about IvyTech? Are we talking about software? Are we talking about, right? What are we talking about? And so really, when we think about IvyConnect being one community, one system, it's just that. It is, as Matt often will refer to it, as kind of a single pane of glass where everything becomes connected at one point, and we bring our systems, the tools that we use, together in one place to be able to efficiently, effectively use the tool to serve our students, those who are with us now, those who are thinking about IvyTech, all the way through to those that come to IvyTech and take courses and earn a credential and then move on beyond IvyTech, how we can engage them as well as alumni and partners and even to the foundation in the long run.
Excellent. Thanks, Andy. So in the intro, I read a little bit that came from that all college communication that came out a couple of weeks ago, and it uses those terms Release 0, Release 1. Can you tell us a little bit more about what those terms mean and what was in Release 0 for anybody who's sort of catching up at this point?
Yeah, great question. At its most basic level, think of Release 0 as IvyTech working with Salesforce, who is our CRM platform vendor, and Aperio, who's our system integrator who builds out the CRM platform with us, and level of setting with IvyTech on our goals and what we wanted to accomplish. So basically helping us build out our wants, needs, strategy, and the plan for all of that. So all of Release 0 is about what IvyTech needs to do for our constituents. And think about Release 0 as what everything that's done before the system is integrated or before we even write a single line of code. So really, it's the business strategy and planning before anything technical happens. So we asked ourselves, what do we need to accomplish to better serve our students and all of our constituents? And so in Release Zero, we broke down a 10-week process from February to April in 6 particular areas. So the first area was planning, which is really high-level discussions of the project across that entire 18-month rollout timeline. This involved the contractual details with procurement, OIT, the licensing conversations, all those specific details on the planning phase for the overall. From there, we did an engagement of vision. So we did a current state assessment, helped define the personas and roles of faculty and staff at the college, of the folks who, as Andy mentioned, who's going to use the system, right? We needed to define those for folks. So that was our first engagement of vision. From there, we did journey building. This was really a fascinating area for us. And that really consisted of Aperio doing 33 different interviews over 52 hours for 38 different roles of the college, really kind of digging into the college and what we do every day. We did a pain point inventory, and we found there were 357 different pain points. So some areas there for some opportunity for improvement.
I think I might have listed 47 of those, just an example.
Just a few things to work on, so that's good. That's good. We did a system and architecture review, and then did really that inventory of opportunities among those pain points of what we could work on. From there, an exciting thing we did was discuss the art of the possible. Like, what does the future look like to us? What do we want it to look like? And how can we make our internal processes better and more efficient to better serve our students? And really discovering what's possible with a platform as robust as Salesforce. So that was exciting. From there, we did a mapping and capabilities inventory, kind of discussed the current processes, determine what we need to do when we write the code and we enable the features. Will those tools meet our needs? And if not, do we need to build those from scratch? So that was kind of our capabilities inventory. And lastly, it was just building out the roadmap and delivery. So that's the formal timeline of the sprint planning, the data model, the technology architecture, the integration designs with our current systems, deciding if we were going to replace software or integrate with it to meet our needs.
Thank you. So what's included in Release 1 then? What's coming up?
The answer is a lot. A lot's included. That's the go live week of September 21st. So a lot of things we're doing in Release 1. One of the biggest things we're doing is consolidating the application process for the college. We will have one place to apply to the college instead of 14. So if you're a prospective student or a guest student, international student, AYD, Ivy Honors, there'll be one place for you to apply. So that makes things easier for everyone. We're going to do lead management to help determine those folks that are interested in coming to the college. We're going to do data consolidation. We're tired of our older systems in that regard. Building out the reports and analytics that we want to track for the college. Assigning of prospects to campuses, that'll all be automatically done through the system. We're going to do an organized campaign management. We're building our marketing cloud foundation, doing employer tracking, certainly for our key constituents being employers, do tracking of those folks, documentation upload, and then the communication preference tools when you think about two-way texting and chatbots and emails and building that out as well. Also within that release will be integrations with big systems like Banner, Blackboard, Signalvine, our Newt, which is our data warehouse with the Snowflake backend, and SmartView. So those will be the integrations planned for Release 1.
And I just want to be clear, because I will get questions on this. By Blackboard, you mean the Blackboard call center. We're not moving back to Blackboard as our learning management system.
Yeah, apologies.
I will get inundated.
No. Blackboard call center, correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So for those who aren't directly impacted by Release 1, why should IvyConnect matter to them right now?
So I think the reason IvyConnect matters is this really is building the foundation for the build out of the rest of the CRM project that will ultimately affect everyone. So this is the foundational piece, getting us rolling, getting us live on the platform. Everyone will be involved in the tool and platform at some point. And so this is really just getting us rolling to where we need to go.
And Matt, a follow-up question to that is what's the typical timeline for a release? Are the releases sort of standard timelines, or will each release have its own timeline?
Yeah, the goal is really to do every 4 to 6 months based on what we need to do. From there, once we become more agile and the foundation is built, we'll be able to deploy more often. And that's ultimately the goal, is to be able to deploy really every 2 to 4 weeks and add new features and improvements. But just to build out this foundation, it's really on a 4 to 6 month timeline for each release.
Thank you. So what's planned after Release 1? And don't say Release 2, because I know that's the sarcastic answer I might get. What's in Release 2 may be a better way to ask this question, or what's planned in Release 2?
Yeah, Release 2 is very large as well, targeted at this time for the February, early March of next year. We may, of course, adjust that timeline depending on our ever-evolving needs of our students in the college. As we saw with the pandemic, things can happen very rapidly, so we have to be able to pivot and be agile. But on the applicant side for Release 2, we're looking at an enrollment checklist, activity management, some event management around recruitment, enrollment registration, enrollment appointments, academic advising appointments, building out some email templates, also kind of optimizing the opportunity and pipeline management and application management. adding some decision logic around some of the programs. So specifically like health sciences and honors and how the decision logic is happening when the application process goes through. Some scheduling with IvyQ, and then certainly some lead management. So that's specifically targeted for the applicant side. On the student side, we're excited about building out the student portal in Salesforce for students to access, doing some non-academic case management for employers, chatter groups, which allows us to have some sort of texting and chat functionality built into the platform for us internally. And then really working on some knowledge management, which is related to IvyQ. And that's for the student side. For CCEC, we're also hoping to do some stuff with account management, opportunity management, and then looking at really how we manage employers for CCEC within Release 2. So that's a big step for us as well. And again, the integration side, we're looking at doing some integration with Starfish and UAchieve, some more functionality with Banner, and then doing some work with MyIvy as well.
Excellent. Thank you. In the email that came out, and I'll link to the email in the show notes in case anybody missed it or just wants to read it again, something called the Change Champions Network is mentioned, and a group of folks are listed there from across the college. Can you talk a little bit more about what that is and what the role those folks play in the CRM?
Absolutely. Yeah. So again, I think this builds a lot on the work that we've done around really understanding and leading through change. And I think specifically of the work that Kristen Moreland and the strategy and team and change management team have really worked on and help us develop and learn as a college just around leading and managing through change. And one of the strategies that has worked really well on campuses as we work through change is having change champions, somebody on the campus who is well known and brings expertise around change management and around how we work effectively together. And the thought was, look, if that works well there, and knowing that a significant amount of the work going into IvyConnect is around managing change and helping people adjust and move into using it as the baseline resource for how we operate, this was a really critical piece. And so working with the change team at Apereo, working with Kristen and now Jeff Kraft, helping with this. It's a team of early adopters, one per campus at least, early adopters who kind of generate at the campus level that high level awareness and engagement around how we're adopting and utilizing and sustaining, frankly, IvyConnect. They meet for the first time in this month, in June, and will be developing exactly what that strategy looks like in terms of how they do that. But these are intended to be high-end users at the campus who draw awareness, but then also are kind of the go-to people on the campus as it relates to IvyConnect.
Thanks, Andy. And my last question for you all today, unless there's something else you want to put in the episode, which I welcome you to do, as we roll out IvyConnect over the next couple of years for the initial rollout, right, Matt? Do I have that timeline right? It'll be about 2 years in total?
Yep.
Okay.
About 18 months for the first phase.
Okay. As we roll that out, how will folks access or receive training? Andy mentioned the go-to people of the Champions Network, but I know there are other training plans. Can you talk a little bit about those? Or Andy, I don't remember who's taking this one.
I think, I'll make a few high-level comments and then Matt, maybe from there. So training is going to be the critical piece to how well we adopt and utilize IvyConnect. I'm confident we are going to develop and improve over the life of IvyConnect a really great resource to use. And it will drive our work in ways that we can't even imagine today. But in order to use it and use it effectively, you've got to train. And it's not a one-off, hey, I got my IvyConnect, I got my CRM training, and ta-da, I got it. It's going to be the ongoing training that needs to happen. And as we continue to modify and evolve as we go, we'll start out with the train the trainer model. Many of our change folks are going to be involved in that, but there'll be many others that help us do this. But it'll start as kind of a train the trainer model, and then it will drive down through the organization. And there'll be kind of that really design work and front end work of that happens between now and August. And then that month of September is going to be the just-in-time training that we need across our campuses to ensure that the users will able to use it well out of the gate. Matt, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think Andy nailed it right there. Really, just to train the trainer model. I'd say we have a great enthusiasm and momentum about this project as internally faculty and staff. They see us leading nationally in higher ed with this platform. I hear almost daily from someone at the college who knows about the power of the Salesforce platform, how it will be a game changer for all of our students and constituents. A lot of folks reach out to me because they're excited. They can't wait to be using it, so they're eager. And I think that enthusiasm translates well into the IvyTech team members who just really want to get on there and just use the platform and serve our students.
Absolutely. And Matt, I would be, and I didn't put this question in formally, but I know you can talk about it. I would be remiss if I didn't have you talk a little bit about training in the context of an Agile environment, because as you said, as we get further down the line here, we're going to go to, new releases every 2 to 4 weeks. You don't necessarily get training every time Google pushes out a Gmail update or Canvas pushes out an update, and we have experience with that. So can you just talk a little bit more about how those fine-tuned changes will happen as we get better at this and more skilled with it through Agile?
Yeah. The great thing about Agile is the folks that are using the systems are the ones recommending the changes. So it's their idea on what should be changed. And so they work with us on an Agile and a sprint team, and we determine, okay, this piece of functionality needs to be improved here because it was the actual business user suggestion. So you don't have to train people who have it as their idea to begin with. And so I think that's the exciting thing about Agile. So we'll get to a point where these releases will be more often, but they'll be much more subtle. So we'll put in changes every 2 to 4 weeks, and there'll be the suggestions and changes and features that the functional users had asked for, which is not really ideal.
It is. It's exceptional.
Hey, Matt, maybe just to add just one more thing, because Agile is still a relatively new thing.
Oh, yeah.
For IvyTech. And when I think about it and think about it from a very high level and think about the way we use Agile processes to help us do it, we're not, in the old days, 2 years ago, you develop software, and when it was all done, you deliver it. And there'd be pieces of it that would work fantastically well, and there'd be other pieces that would get, that didn't work so well. And so we make changes after we've implemented the full thing. When I look at how we're approaching this, and you think about release 0 and release 1 and release 2, and the sprints along the way, we're developing and testing along the way, as opposed to just waiting until the end and plugging in this new thing. And that is really cool.
Yeah, Andy, you said it perfectly. Along the way with the sprints, it is the business users, it is the academic folks, it is CCEC, it is enrollment, it is admissions, it's recruiting, it's marketing, determining what they need out of the system. And that's what's being built. It's not, an IT guy or gal in a dark room just reading a document from somewhere and saying, okay, we're going to build this how we think you might want it. No, we're going to build it because you're going to tell us how to build it. And we're going to test along the way, to Andy's point. So that makes a big difference in what the end result looks like.
Absolutely. Anything else you guys want to make sure our listeners hear as we close up the episode today?
One other thought.
Sure.
And that is the amount of work that's going into this, right? It's all behind the scenes. So we have a great OIT team that, together with our partners at Aperio and Salesforce, that are doing a great job on the technical side of this and helping us work through this. But there are teams on the enrollment services side and the marketing side, on the AYD work, CCEC, that are at the front end of, or the early phases or early releases of this, of IvyConnect, that are putting in mountains and mountains of work going into this. And I just want to say thank you to those that have put in all this work to get us to this point. We have lots ahead of us. It's going to be really exciting, and I'm anxious to see it. I'm anxious to see IvyTech get the recognition that we're getting on the front end once we're using it and living it, and we've done it end to end like nobody else has done it.
Yeah, I just want to second what Andy said. The esprit de corps among IvyTech employees has been incredible. I mean, the excitement, enthusiasm about the project, everyone has a day job, right? So they're doing this on top of it. And so I think, I just want to thank all those folks who reach out to me all the time with their energy and ask how they can help. And I think it really is massive an undertaking as this is, and it's literally tens of thousands of hours from a consultant, tens of thousands of hours internally. It is a massive undertaking. And I think just the spirit and enthusiasm everyone has represented, and their eagerness to learn and make the system better for our students, I think really reflects well in our organization. So thanks to everyone who's been involved in it.
It's a great way to close the episode. Thank you both very much. You know that every episode does end with a call to action, so make sure you stay engaged with what's happening with IvyConnect so that you can talk about it with your fellow faculty and staff, read each of the updates as they are published, talk with the members of the Change Champion Network if you would like to know more. And I'll put a link in the show notes to the most recent update, which includes a link to a detailed PowerPoint that has even more information and the most recent release update and the list of the Change Champion Network in case you missed that update. So I'll make sure I put that in the show notes. Thanks again for joining this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank the members of today's panel, Matt Etchison, who's the CIO, and it was recently announced now the Senior VP for Information Technology. Matt, congratulations to you. And Andy Bowne, who this is your last podcast as an IvyTech staff member, isn't it? Yeah. Andy, would you tell folks where you're going, please, in case they don't know?
Yeah. I've had the privilege of joining the Johnson County Community College family to become their next president.
We are so proud of you. It's your last time on the podcast as an IvyTecher, but I'm going to get you back somehow. I haven't figured out how. That's right. We will bring you back. You have a standing invitation. Anytime we can collaborate, you can come back. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. Our guest producer for this episode was Kelsey Batten from our marketing and communications team. Thank you, Kelsey, for helping preparing this episode. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Again, that number is 317-572-5049. If you are an IvyTech faculty or staff member, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. I send out information on how to join that community every Thursday. Our website is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah Ferguson, and the IvyTech Community College marketing team. And our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and post-production services provided by Jen Eads at the Brassi Broadcasting Company. And we will talk to you next time on Our College, Your Voices.